No doubt you've come across a Death Knight or two in Wrath of the Lich King so far. They're everywhere, guys. Everyone's playing one of these death rune wielding, My Chemical Romance listening, Lich King worshipping. All right, look, today we're not here to condemn Death Knights. We're here to understand them. And me, being an expert on the subject, having played a Death Knight since the original Wrath of the Lich King, I'm gonna give you all an insight into the different kinds of Death Knight players that are out there. Number one, the 13-year-old.
All right, bitch! Invite me to your group. Let's get started.
Around Azeroth, you will find the first type of Death Knight player, and he's recognizable by his name. Dark Knight, Death Lord, Arthas cool, with all these little dashes above the letters. You know exactly what I'm talking about. All these people have two things in common. Their name is edgy, and it's filled with weird letters, and they're all 13 years old. And we've all been 13, okay? I understand. We all loved ninjas back in the day, discovering metal music and wanting to be a badass, and we all had that phase of wanting to show everyone just how cool and edgy we really were compared to everybody else. These Death Knights, unfortunately, they're going to be the worst players in your raid, and when you try to get them into the raid chat, their mic is always going to be broken. Every single time. They leave the raid early when their mom gets mad at them for staying up past their bedtime on a school night. Been there, done that myself. And this type of Death Knight considers the Lich King to be the coolest character in the history of writing. And he is convincing his mom to throw him an Arthas-themed birthday party, which would have been a fantastic idea for me back in the day, but I wasn't that cool, unfortunately. But Arthas is the coolest Warcraft character. We can all agree with that. We all understand these players because at one point, we were these players too. Unless you did not play a Death Knight when you were 13. In which case, what the heck were you doing? Playing a druid? Hell's wrong with you? Number two, the Meta Slave. We all know this next Death Knight. In complete contrast to the first Death Knight, we all know him and we all hate him. This is the player that had a full Brutal Gladiator set on the 4th day of the pre-patch. How? No one knows. His talent tree and glyphs are ripped straight from the Icy Veins and WoW head class guides. He has every add-on from DBM, threat meters, damage meters, to leveling assistance like Zygor. And when Wrath launched, he played non-stop for days until he reached level 80 and was in full gear ready for Naxxramas. This is the player that will stop at nothing to get an extra 0.06% increase in his raid DPS. The only reason he's playing this class is because they're overpowered as sin in Wrath of the Lich King. However, he will soon realize that there are so many meta slave DKs, he will never find a guild. And ultimately, he will either quit the game because of this conundrum, or he will continue to live in the fantasy that he is a method raider, one of those top world first racer players, even though he's not.
Yeah, it's okay to be a little jealous, Mookluck. I know this transmog looks awesome. You don't need to say it. I am quite beautiful. I know.
Doesn't matter what transmog you wear, you still look like a fat piece of shit.
Oh.
Number three, the Immersed Death Knight. This is really the hardest kind of Death Knight player to spot, but they're out there. You just gotta really keep your eyes open. He never speaks, and he almost never joins a group. He always wants to do everything solo content. Now, this is the Death Knight who loves Wrath of the Lich King more than anyone. This is the guy who worships the ground that Arthas tread upon during his time in Warcraft 3. He has become so immersed in the questing and the lore of Death Knights and Wrath of the Lich King that he has become almost indistinguishable from a non-player character, an NPC. He has spent the last 10 years on private Wrath of the Lich King servers because of his obsession. His room is filled with Arthas and Death Knight themed merchandise. His two greatest moments in life were the launch of Wrath of the Lich King and Wrath of the Lich King Classic. When he finishes leveling his Death Knight after reading all the quest text, he will just make another to experience the starting zone, and then he'll do it again and again and again. And if you try to talk to this graceful creature, if you try to communicate with it, usually it will just run and hide. And fun fact, if you want to figure out the sex of this type of Death Knight player, all you gotta do is shove your thumb up his ass. Number four, the most depressing man on Earth. On roleplay servers across Azeroth, Moonguard, Argent Dawn, whatever, you will find the rarest creed of Death Knight. This Death Knight roleplayer is the most depressing player that plays World of Warcraft. Walking past one of these guys will immediately suck the happiness and the energy out of your souls. They bring a new meaning to the term energy vampire, let's put it that way. And if you're foolish enough to speak to them, well, they're going to begin to tell you how depressed and emotionless their character is, how they murdered their entire family for the Lich King. They can't feel anything anymore. They can't feel happiness. They can't feel pain, and they're completely void of all love. Typically, this is another kind of teenage-ish person in real life who's really depressed because they think that just because they got their cell phone taken away for a week, they know that, you know, they feel life's hard or something.
Would you stop insulting My Little Pony in your videos? It hurts my feelings.
You know, whatever. These players are also the most lore-obsessed players in the game, and of all the role players, they are the most devoted. And, you know, don't let the depressed facade of this character fool you, however, because honestly, if you get to know him, you know, you become friends, usually he knows a great place to buy weed at. But don't you dare say that Illidan is better than Arthas, because this guy will kick your ass in real life. And number 5, the PvPer. Who is the most toxic Death Knight of them all? I wonder. Leave your comments down below and tell me. What I'm about to tell you about is the Death Knight player that would sell their own mother to the devil for a can of Monster Energy. Of course, we are talking about the PvPer.
Please! When the Horde is attacking, they're killing everyone! Please! Oh, shit. Looks like this is our lucky day. You ready to get your hands dirty, noob?
Can't we just go somewhere else and quest?
Are you kidding me? You really are a filthy casual. Those are Alliance men fighting and dying down there, trying to defend our land. And you just want to leave? What sort of a person abandons his brothers in arms?
In Wrath of the Lich King, Death Knights are so overpowered in PvP that to simply attack another player as one will turn you into a disgusting DK PvPer almost immediately. This player, upon attacking someone, will realize the power in his fingertips, and then, afterwards, this player will waste away their hours ganking low-level players, screaming at teammates in Wintergrasp and Isle of Conquest, and doing spit emotes on enemies in Arena, at least if you can still spit in Wrath of the Lich King. I haven't actually tried, but I remember Blizzard removed the spit emote. Can you spit in Wrath of the Lich King? I'm gonna have to go test that after recording this video. The point is, this player is the most racist, vile, and hate-filled being known to man and in the World of Warcraft. And the thing is, these people played warriors or rogues and were calm and collected and kind, but as soon as they logged into that DK, they became a being of pure evil. They will show you no remorse as they gank noobs and low-level players, and they yearn for the days when people still said, owned, and made PvP videos set to cringe 2000s rock music. Guys, I hope that me explaining the 5 types of Death Knight players really helped you to understand Death Knights in their natural habitat and who they are in World of Warcraft. And if you'd like to watch another video, I highly recommend checking out this one, What If Arthas Hadn't Turned Evil, where we talk about what would have happened if Arthas had never become the Lich King, if he had remained a paladin, and if he truly had undergone the great quest of saving Lordaeron without killing a ton of villagers and stuff. You know what I'm talking about? That whole purging incident. So go check out that video if you want, guys. Thank you for watching, and I will see you with the next one.